Nintendo, a video game company that has sold more than 5 billion video games and over 779 million hardware units globally. Although the company today is famous for the games such as Mario, Donkey Kong, The Legend of Zelda, Pokemon, and many others, they were once struggling to be a rice company. In today's episode, we will discuss how Nintendo completely switched its scope from the vision of its founder and became the most popular gaming company in the world. A little history. In 1543, some Portuguese arrived on the shores of Japan. With them, they brought their culture. Eager to trade with Japan, the Portuguese soon established more formal traffic through the port of Nagasaki. And by 1549, they introduced a number of influential things that included foreign products and religious beliefs. One of these products was a deck of playing cards. The cards spread across Japan and were used for gambling. As the influence of the new culture was growing, it was becoming a trend for the shogunate. Japan decided to take action in order to preserve their culture by closing its borders to foreigners in 1633. Foreigners had no choice but to leave, however, their cards stayed behind. This sakoku policy went on for centuries. To completely wipe out any Western influence, cards were banned. Many started to develop cards of their own style. The habit of playing cards was still very much present, but the style of cards kept changing. And because cards were similar to Portuguese style, the authorities kept banning them as they got popular. Fusajiro Yamuchi was born on November 22, 1859, in Kyoto, Japan. Young Fusajiro was known by many as an artist. He saw the excitement on faces when people were playing cards and the disappointment when they were banned. In the late 1800s, Japan finally lifted the ban on playing cards. Knowing that the ban had been lifted, 30-year-old Yamuchi introduced Nintendo Koppai, the Nintendo playing card company, a company that would print Hanafuda cards. The cards were different. They had no numbers, they featured unique artwork, and because most of the art was hand-drawn and traditional, the popularity started to grow. As the popularity grew in the 1890s, the business also was picking up. Fusajiro had to hire staff to help make more cards, not only for the Japanese, but also for the rest of the world. And with that, Nintendo Koppai started to manufacture the first Western-style playing cards in Japan in 1902. Over the next 40 years, Fusajiro's small business expanded into a major corporation, selling cards in and outside of Japan. By 1929, at 70, Fusajiro retired, leaving the company in the hand of his son-in-law, Sekiryo Yamuchi. Sekiryo had plans to expand the company even more. He moved the company into a new specially constructed building next door to the original Hanafuda shop, where the assembly line technique was introduced. With the assembly line, Sekiryo could mass-produce playing cards, selling even more cards. Sadly, in the coming years, the original founder, Fusajiro Yamuchi, passed away in 1940 due to a stroke. In 1950, Hiroshi Yamuchi took over Nintendo. Hiroshi loved experimenting. He would introduce Nintendo to other sectors. His first move was to fire every single manager that had been hired during his grandfather's tenure. Hiroshi wanted to establish absolute authority as Nintendo's leader. He wanted no one to stop him from what he was about to do. Even though Nintendo was now the largest card-selling business in Japan, Hiroshi wanted more. He wanted cards to be played not only by adults, but also children. He started selling cards with Walt Disney characters on them, a move that sold over 600,000 card packs in 1959. He still wasn't satisfied and sought to push the company even further. This ultimately meant expanding into new products beyond Hanafuda. His first move was to start a taxi service company under Nintendo. The service had to shut down due to disputes with the labor union that turned costly. He then started a Love Hotel, a hotel where you could rent rooms by the hour. The Love Hotels did well, according to Firestone's book, but ultimately shut down because he wanted to explore other rising industries. Nintendo's last unsuccessful venture of the 60s was an instant rice company, but that also was shut down. Hiroshi, remembering why his grandfather started Nintendo in the first place, shifted his focus back to entertainment. For Nintendo, the next big thing meant toys and electronic games. It's the 1970s. Arcades are the place to be for friends and families. For Nintendo, an assembly line worker who turned into a product developer, Gunpei Yokoi, pitched the idea for a beam gun, and with that, Nintendo developed a laser clay shooting system. Then they used this technology in coin-operated game stores. Coin-operated game stores took off unlike any other. Nintendo released its own game console, the Nintendo Entertainment System, worldwide in 1985. According to the company, the NES sold over 60 million units. Nintendo was an instant hit in Europe with the release of the Game Boy, the first portable handheld game system with interchangeable game cartridges, put Nintendo on the map. They sold over 118 million units worldwide. Ever heard of Super Mario? By introducing Mario in 1985, within a couple of months, they had sold nearly 10 million copies. By 2006, the company launched the Nintendo Wii, which quickly captured market share and became the first home video game system to sell over 10 million units in a single year. The man who changed Nintendo, Hiroshi Yamauchi, passed away in 2013. After nearly 130 years, Nintendo is still going strong. Who knew what Fusajiro's vision was for Nintendo? But as it turned out, it took 3 generations for Nintendo to achieve something spectacular in the entertainment world. Until next time, have a good one.